so what's in the bag? It is a protective case for the ICOM 705. It's got its own battery supply in here, 4.5 amp. What is the thing called? Bio battery. It also will hold the ICOM 705's tuner. Mounts on the back wall, and then the radio is held by this bottom screw here. So it's a rack and a bag pretty much. So I'm gonna take this out and assemble it and show you what it looks like afterwards. Right, here's the bag it comes with. It's a gator, padded, thick, perfectly fits the rack, and it's got a front pocket which includes your strap and your connector wires. You've got a short wire for your antenna tuner cable, because the antenna tuner comes with a humongously long cable that you don't nail that in that rack. And then it's got a short BNC to BNC connector that will take it from the radio, I assume, to the back of the front port coming out of here. Looks like we got the hardware to hold the radio into place there, and then on the back wall for the tuner. And then looks like I got a couple fuses. I have the rack out of the box, and you can see better everything in it. So I was talking to Ralph this morning, making sure I wouldn't do anything to mess anything up. When he ships it, he coils all these wires up and wire ties them, so you can disconnect these whenever it arrives. I went and plugged up the charger port and started charging the battery. This runs from the battery and runs to this charging port here. He said you need to use the Bio battery charger. And the Bio battery in this one, I opted for the 4.5 amp because I'm going to be running the 705 tuner as well. So I figured a more bigger battery would be better for that. And it will mount on the back wall. And let's see, it's going to go in like this with your antenna connector here and your ground there. And as you can see, he's already got a ground wire right here. Zoom in just a little bit. You got the ground wire ran in here for this. And then this, the SO239 will run to the external port here. And he's already got the connector wire here, wire tied up. That's so it won't beat around the box when it's traveling. And then on this side, he's got the ground for the radio. So this will go in on your left side of your ICOM. Put your ground here. This is the power supply for the ICOM 705 tuner. And he said make sure we don't have any internal batteries, that you don't have any AA's in there when you're running off the external power, and that makes sense. And then these are your speaker wire and your mic wire. They'll run in on your 705 into here, so you can plug your mic into the front. And then your key and send plugs are right here, and these will run in, of course, to your right side of your radio. And I hope I'm not making everybody dizzy. It's got a fuse block in here, and you're using 3 of them. One of them is for the meter on the front. It's a 1 amp fuse. The second one is for the ICOM. So the other one is for the 1 amp is for the 705 power supply, and then the 4 amp one here is for the radio itself. And your power supply comes in here. It's this plug right here. It's bottled up. So after I cut all these, you can see better. They're all sort of jammed up there together. But there's a fourth slot open, and he said that's just because the fourth slot was the smallest one you could get, and if you ever need an accessory, well, you got room for another one there. The unit comes de-energized, so this is unplugged. This is the battery here, and this is the charger port here. Or no, vice versa. This is the incoming from the charger port, and this goes into your Bio-NO battery, and maybe you can see it up in there. And he also has the power pole is disconnected from the battery too. So this is for your external power. Now this is from your battery, sorry. And this is the power supply coming in. Okay, so we're back. I plugged up the Bio-NO charger plug straight to the battery. Bypassed this while I was working on this. Went ahead and plugged in the power pole that controls the power supply to through the switch and back to the fuse block. So it's now energized. If we turn the switch on, you'll see the LED comes on. It's showing the charge voltage is 13.9 volts on the meter. So this just shows what the power supply is providing at the moment. Now I'm gonna start cutting these wires and mounting this. The tuner will mount to the back of the box. I'll probably go ahead and put that in first. It mounts to the screw through that hole there in the back of the wall, and hardware is provided for that. So there's a screw and I guess a grommet type to keep it from putting too much pressure around that aluminum back plate. And once I've got that mounted on there, we'll come back and talk some more. All right, so I've got the ICOM I705 antenna tuner in. I added a 90-degree BNC to BNC male female there because it was tight. It probably would have been fine. Once I mounted it, came over some, but it looked like it was going to be hitting this out of the box. But I think it's, you can see right there. I just added that in there. We'll see how it does. Brought the power wire around that was already wired into the box, so that's supplied. This control wire for the tuner goes to the radio. That was supplied in a baggie. The antenna tuner control wire, and of course that'll come over here and go on the right side of your radio. Your speaker mic will be on the left side, and I've got a ground here that runs to the main ground up here, then over to the on that side of the tuner. It's tapped in there. It's a little tight, I have to say. The ground wire, I mean, it's just a matter of I'll flip to the top side so you can see ground wire runs up here, terminates, comes down, and the only problem I had was that there was about 5 wire ties here which had this wire too short. I couldn't get the antenna tuner to the spot for the hole because there was all these wire ties. So I just clipped those, and I've got more wire ties I can put on. There was plenty of wire here, so I just slid the wire down and it fit perfect, nice and tight. I've got it, you can see the back side of that BNC there from the back side of the tuner. Power wire is the far one, the middle one's a control wire. Again, it's going to come over on this side of the box for the radio. All right, so the next thing to do, put the screw in. It's on the back side of this, I showed you earlier. Now the radio will be mounted to this plate on its bottom tripod screw as well. So that's going to sit in, and I'm going to go ahead and start plugging wires up and stuff, because with my big fat fingers, you're never going to see anything while I'm working on it, but I'll show you once it's done. Go ahead and put the 259 connector on, and then finish tightening it up. All right, just tighten that up. So it's on, it runs, of course, here to your front port. So next is to put the radio in, and I'll come back after plugging all that up. You guys can understand. You won't be able to see anything with my hands in the way. Okay, well, that was a lot more difficult than I thought, because I have really big, beefy hands and some tight fits in there. So got the radio in. As you can see, the screws mounted. It's in the rack, and it is, the battery's charged up. I was charging that while I was working on it at the beginning, but it sits in there nice, flush, and everything is plugged up. We got the data port cables plugged in. We got the key and send plugged in on this side, and that was no small feat. And we got the power energized up, so we got the charger wire coming in, plugged into the battery wire, and we've got the power pole that goes to the battery running to the port. And according to Ralph, you can put external power on here, and if you have the switch on, it will run off the both the internal battery and the external battery, and it will charge, assuming you have enough external battery, it can be charging this at the same time as helping run this. If you have it turned off and plug it in the external power source, it will power the unit but not charge the battery. So that's a good piece of advice to know. I did get the antenna wire onto the side of the radio without using another 90 degree, so I'm sure that this probably would have fit without putting the 90 degree in there. I've got 2 or 3 of them around, and I just grabbed one of them and put it on there, thinking that might not put so much bind on this jumper wire here. And so that's got all of the wiring wired in. So this is secured, this is secured. Next, I'm going to put it in the box, and then we'll power it up, see how everything looks. But so far, it's looking good. Okay, finally got it all together. I'm going to run bloopers at the end of this to show you guys how much trouble I had with my big hands trying to get this thing put back in here. But it is in. It is ready to go. In the front compartment, I've got the mic, and there's enough room in there to put your infrared half wave. I put the other fuses, the extra fuses, and the extra screw in there. Just left the silica pack in there. And let's set this down here where you guys can see it. Get backlight here. All right, we're back. I've got the mic plugged up. I don't have an antenna or anything on yet, and I don't have a ground on, but just got everything wired up, and we can power up the power supply. See, it says it's charging here. Radio's not on yet. Peel off that protective piece of cellophane. If I had fingernails, which I don't have those anymore. There we go. You see 13.4 volts. This is for external power. You can power a device off of the internal battery. Again, I opted for the 4.5 amp BioNO battery that Ralph offered on this. So it's got a little bit more charging time, and then you can plug up your BioNO charger here and charge up the battery inside. If you want to hook up external like a battery pack, it's got a power pole here to do that. So you got the AC charger you can put in here. You may even have a DC set up as well. You can run there to charge your battery. But this you can use in the field with another battery with a power pole. You got your key send and ports here. Data port, charger port we already talked about. The ground runs grounds to the antenna tuner and the radio, and we can power it up. It comes up and everything's working. And attach your antenna and go play radio. So there you go. It was hard for my big fat fingers, but for you guys that are more able to do things with great dexterity, you should have no problem. Power it down, set it up, pull out your mic and your speaker, zip it up, and away you go.